Ladies and gentlemen, the man described as the sixth nicest Python, Eric Idle. Bring back memories, actually, Paul.
Oh, happy days of being crucified in Tunisia.
Thinking about it.
Yeah.
It's become a kind of national anthem in this country, hasn't it?
It has. They cut out the crucifixion bit, but yes, the soccer fans took it up in the 80s. That's and right. Began to sing it when they were losing heavily.
It became a #1 hit here too.
It did, yes.
And what sort of reaction is it getting? It's in Spamalot, which is this wonderful collection of classic material, mainly from the Holy Grail.
It's from the Spamalot is the Holy Grail, and just in the second act, just when we just catch them unawares and we play Always Look on the Bright Side. And here in London, they all sing along. It's amazing. Yeah. It's kind of heartwarming. The whole audience just starts to sing Always Look on the Bright Side. So it's very panto.
And it cost $13 million to put on in America.
It did, yes.
That would be the reason why you put it on in America, no doubt. Because...
Yes, I'd rather use their money first.
But it's been a huge success. It must have exceeded even your expectation in a sense.
I always thought it would be funny, but what was surprising to me was that it was bought in a big way by the Tony audiences. They gave us the best musical of the year. So they took it very seriously and rewarded us, and they gave us a Grammy, and it just was ridiculous.
The problem would be, I would say, because I mean, Python wasn't generally universally loved when it came out, was it? It was divisive.
It was very hated. I'm very happy to say, you know, middle-aged women would say, "Oh, you're Monty Python, we hate you." I really like that. And I miss that. I miss that now because we're all nice and sweet and cuddly and old, so yes. It's just sad. But I think the thing that I liked most of all about the show was when we opened in Chicago, I heard these little old ladies going, "Oh, I hated Monty Python, but I really like this show."
Oh, right.
So I think that's kind of a nice...
Maybe times have changed, things have changed, perceptions have changed.
Well, the show is different. It's much softer. It's a kind of a Broadway show. There's a love story. There's an intermission, which is one of the best parts of it. And you know, it works as a musical play. It isn't just sketches. I mean, you know, you get involved with the characters and it tells a tale.
Yes. What's it like being called the sixth nicest Python?
Well, it's not true.
It's not true?
No. I'm at least the 7th or 8th nicest Python. Yeah. Yes. I hate nice people. Oh, nice is awful.
Is it?
Oh, I think it's terribly overrated. I mean, people think you're nice.
They do.
But they don't see you backstage, you know, slamming around, throwing scripts and, you know... I mean, I don't expect nice people to entertain me. I mean, Mozart, you know, you don't care who was nice, or Shakespeare was nice. Beethoven was a total shit.
You're on good authority.
It's on totally good authority.
Right.
So I think niceness is really, really overrated.
All right.
I think there's raging anger inside nice people.
Right.
Really.
But therefore, when you look then at the reputation of somebody, say, like Michael Palin, who's sort of a nice man...
He has a reputation of being a nice man.
He has.
Yes.
But he's had a false one again.
Ooh.
Really?
Far be it from me to say anything like that,
really,
Michael, on your show, that he's not really nice, you know. But I don't know. I think that... I'm often mistaken for Michael Palin, especially in America. They come and say, "Yeah, you're Michael Palin, aren't you?" And whenever I am mistaken for Michael Palin, I always say, "Yes, I am Michael Palin. Now bugger off, you ugly old fart." Because I wish to just shake that little reputation for niceness that he has.
When we talk about Python and about the fans of it and people who found it disreputable, maybe your biggest fan, and certainly one of your great friends, was the late George Harrison. And he has a very important part to play in the history of Pythons, doesn't he?
George paid for The Life of Brian, the entire film. He paid for it. And the thing about George is that what was great about George is he had a really great sense of humour. He was really funny. And as well as being a spiritually nice person, he was always very encouraging to me in a dark time in my life when I was very sad and my marriage was breaking up, my fault. And... I once told him that I was going to Australia because they'd had this thing called a nudge bar, which they wanted me to go down and go, nudge, nudge, wink, wink, buy this nudge bar. So I thought, OK, it's January, it's England, it's miserable and depressing, I'm very upset. I'll go to Australia, which is where English people go to have emotions.
I go there. I don't go there to emotions.
No? You watch the cricket?
I do.
Yeah, which is the same as having emotions.
Oh, I see.
especially about losing.
Yes.
Women have emotions, men have sport. That's how it works. So anyway, George says to me, "Oh, you're going to go to Australia, are you?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "You're going to be flying over India." I said, "Well, yeah, probably." He said, "Oh, that's pretty heavy." I said, "Well, yeah, OK." He said, "I'm going to give you something." So the day I was leaving for the airport, this package arrived, and it was beautifully presented, beautifully wrapped up in gold, and it said, "Not to be opened till over India." I thought, whoa, OK, very heavy. Spiritual Beatles. So I put it on the top, and then about 10 hours later, I'm passing over this brown patch, and I said, "Is that India?" And they said, "Yeah, that's India." I said, "Oh, this is the moment, you know, I'll get it down." Meaning of life, I open it up, open up the box, and I pulled out a little card, and it said, "Shagga Sheila for me."
And did you?
Well, you know, history relates. Apparently I did. So apparently I took his advice.
But when you say that he helped you at that time in your life when things weren't going right for you, in what sense?
Well, he knew what it was like to go through fame in a group and how strange and alienating it is, and how to be on top of the world in one way and yet feel your life is not meaning anything. And so he was always very keen on encouraging people just to say, well, we're all alive and we're all going to die. That was the great thing about George. He'd always remind you you're going to die any minute, which is, you know, good news, bad news. The good news is, come on, let's go and have a drink, is what he'd say.
Yes, yes.
But spiritually, he was really prepared for his own death. And I thought that was the most amazing thing I've ever witnessed in life, which is a friend going through their own death and knowing it's happening and going to be happening, and yet being perfectly calm about it and being at peace with it.
Well, you were with him in 2 points in his life where he did die and one where he nearly died, and that was when he survived that attack, horrendous attack on him at his home. What did he tell you about that?
Well, he was kind of, as usual, he's George, it's the Liverpudlian thing, you know. He said he'd been stabbed 8 times in the chest and body with a kitchen knife by this intruder at 3 in the morning. And he's lying on the ground and bleeding really to death. And the police finally came in, and he's been carried out, and he had 2 people who just started working for him, whom he hadn't yet seen. And they came racing in, and he said, "What do you think of the job so far?" So, you know, I think personally the Beatles were successful in America because they were funny.
Yes.
It wasn't just the music. They came on and they were cheeky, and it was a breath of fresh air to America.
Now, what about, I mean, you've lived in America now for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever get nostalgic for England at all?
I like England. I like coming to England. I love coming to England as a visitor. I love staying in hotels in England. You know, if you live here, you never go to a hotel. Yes. So it's kind of fun to come back and be out of the West End and visit. And I watch English football all weekend. I have 5 or 6 games live on my satellite.
That's an affliction, actually, watching English football. Well,
no, that's watching England. I watch the Premier League.
Right, you know. What if you tot up then, when you're in America, you live in California, if you tot up the sort of credit side and debit side of living in America, how does it balance out? First of all, let's have the bad news. What's the debit side?
I think the bad news is the Americans are very good. They've done all sorts of things. They can replace livers and lungs and arms and legs, but they can't get an asshole out of the White House. And the good news is, I think that you get to meet all these diverse people. I mean, I think you met this person I met, who was a sexologist called Dr. Whipple.
Oh, did I meet Dr.
Yes.
Whipple?
Well, Dr. Whipple is an American woman, and you meet her, and she says, I discovered the G-spot. And you go, oh, yeah, that's interesting, you know, over dinner. And she said, I think all men should know how to find it. And you go, yeah, sure, give me a map and some breathing apparatus. And she said, no, I want you to find it. So she did this to you, too.
She did?
She took my hand. She said, here's your hand. Go like this. I went like that. And she said, put your fingers and place them like that.
That's right.
And that is the G-spot. And I was surprised, because I always thought it was in the vagina.
But that's true. I mean, you find that amazing, but she did exactly the same to me at dinner. Do you know where the G-spot is? That was an opening gambit.
It's not an English conversation,
no, it's not at all.
That's very American.
And once you got hold of my hand, I thought, Christ, where's it going next? What's going to happen here? a shared
Well,
experience.
I give a hell of a handshake now.
My God, how things have changed. We shall find out when we talk to our next guest. But all the best with Spamalot. And
Thank you.
Eric Idle, thank you very much indeed.
My pleasure.